Well, folks, Joe Biden is virile. He's empathetic. That's who the man is. He falls asleep at memorial services. As pretty much the entire world is focused in on the Republicans, the Democrats are doing a terrible job. I mean, Joe Biden is doing a truly awful job, and obviously he's still embroiled with all of the Hunter questions. So over his trip to Maui, the media tried their best to do cleanup. CNN's Bill Weir, who is a big Biden fan, he suggested that Joe Biden was empathizer in chief, which is weird because typically when I do empathy, I don't go to, a place where people watch their relatives burn to death and then talk about that one time there was a kitchen fire in my kitchen. But apparently, according to Bill Weir, Joe Biden is just amazing at this.
Locals here, working class Native Hawaiians and multi-generational locals are worried of disaster capitalism, people moving in to exploit this and buy up as much land as they can in this paradise and rebuild it for their interests as well. The president promises that won't happen. It remains to be seen. There's a lot of forces at play here right now. He did serve as empathizer in chief after 5 days of being mostly silent on the issue publicly, but the governor said he was working behind the scenes to assure first responders that the feds had their back on this.
Old man who can barely walk serves as empathizer in chief while telling people about that one time there was a kitchen fire that was put out in 20 minutes. Also, big controversy of the day is whether Joe Biden actually fell asleep at the Maui wildfire memorial service. This would not be the first time that he appeared to nod off in the middle of a service. The media were doing their best to spin this as, no, he was just being solemn. I don't know, man. I don't know.
We are a community that relies on family, on ohana.
That is sleep breathing right there.
Whether by blood or by friendship.
And he wakes himself up. That is sleep breathing. I mean, you can see his chest moving up and down. By the way, that is the deep breathing that you get right when you're in the middle of a REM cycle right there. So, yeah, the chances that Joe Biden was just super solemn right there, as opposed to he briefly nodded off because he's an 80-year-old man and he hasn't had his early bird dinner yet and he just took a flight. Don't worry, guys. He's as virile and wonderful and empathetic as ever. He's not the kind of guy who would check his watch repeatedly during a service for fallen Marines or something. He did that when they brought the bodies back from Afghanistan. A majority of Gen Z supports wild left-wing policies like open borders and socialism. If we don't actually reach them and change their minds, the country we know and love will be lost forever. PragerU is the leading nonprofit when it comes to influencing young people. PragerU's educational, entertaining, pro-America videos meet young people where they are online and they open their minds to the truth. They have literally billions of views at this point, PragerU. I've participated in several of their videos. PragerU is kind of a sister company to Daily Wire. They do amazing work with young people, but they need your help. Go to PragerU.com and make a tax-deductible donation. Whatever you give right now will be tripled and have 3 times the impact. Donate $10, it triples to $30. Give $100, it explodes to $300. PragerU is 100% free to everyone with no fees or subscriptions. They don't rely on ads or clickbait headlines. Contrary to what the left says, PragerU isn't funded by a handful of billionaires. It's funded by people just like you. In order to keep making great content, reaching millions, and changing minds, PragerU needs your help today. That's PragerU.com to donate today. Again, PragerU.com. Donate generously today. They do an amazing job. And right now, they have a triple offer. Again, donate $10, triples to $30. Go give generously. They're awesome. PragerU.com right now. Everything is very chaotic lately. And this is why you need to commune with the Almighty. Now, it's something that we in the Jewish faith, we are enjoined to do at least 3 times a day. Now, it's something that you should be doing on a daily basis, no matter what your religious persuasion. We all need a little more peace in our lives. Hallow is an incredible app that offers a unique approach to prayer and meditation. Unlike the other meditation apps, Hallow is tailored specifically for people of faith to deepen their relationship with God. The Hallow app is filled with studies, meditations, and reflections rooted in Judeo-Christian prayer practices. We have tons of Christians who work in this office, obviously, and they use Hallow regularly. You can pray alongside Mark Wahlberg, Jonathan Rumi, who portrays Jesus in The Chosen, even some world-class athletes. You can access the #1 Christian podcast, Bible in a Year, with Father Mike Schmitz on Hallow. With features like progress tracking and streaks, Hallow helps you stay motivated and make prayer a regular part of your daily routine. It's very important stuff. I take time out of my day. Honestly, if I didn't, I think I might go nuts. It's very important for you to do it too. If you're looking to deepen your relationship with God and improve your mental and emotional well-being, try Hallow for 3 months free at hallow.com/Shapiro. That's hallow.com/Shapiro. The Hunter Biden stuff is not going away. It's going to get worse because Joe Biden has spent literally his entire career enriching his family on the back of his political power. It's a thing he has done his entire career. I'm working on an entire compendium of this stuff right now. It's taking me a long time. I mean, everyone around Joe Biden is richer because Joe Biden was in politics and because presumably he was offering favors on their behalf pretty obviously. That includes his brothers, Frank and Jim. That includes his sister, Val. It includes his sons, Hunter and Beau. Now, all of these people have benefited by their very close proximity to the senator and then VP and then president of the United States. According to the Wall Street Journal, U.S. relations with China were steady in December 2013 when then Vice President Joe Biden stepped off Air Force Two in Beijing with a seemingly unremarkable companion, his son Hunter. Days later, Shanghai authorities approved the formation of an investment boutique underwritten by the Chinese government that named Hunter Biden as a director and later cut him an ownership share at a discounted price. Roughly 4 months afterward, he began earning up to $1 million annually for sitting on the Burisma board. The younger Biden's business activities loom larger than ever a decade after that trip, with President Biden seeking re-election as a grinding DOJ investigation and a determined probe by congressional Republicans scrutinized where Hunter Biden made money overseas and what exactly he got paid to do. Now, what's funny is that they say things like no evidence has emerged to show President Biden benefited from his son's international commercial endeavors. Now, I'm wondering why you would say that. Again, if I do you a favor and then your favor back to me is that you give my kids a crap load of money, I benefited. It's my kids. I'm so confused as to the idea that like Joe Biden has to personally cash the check in order to benefit from this sort of thing. It's sort of bizarre. Now, Hunter Biden, between 2014 and 2019, companies associated with Hunter Biden cleared $20 million. Hunter Biden personally may have cleared up to $7 million during that time. He is a drug-addicted derelict, one of the worst people in American public life, and who's pulling down buku bucks because of his last name. And again, everybody knows this. That's the part that's truly astonishing about this. It's not as though this is a giant secret. Everybody knows this, including members of his own family. I mean, literally, Hunter said that his last name was gold to foreign investors, admitting that his father's job, quote, opened doors that would not be opened up to other people. Jim used to tell potential business partners, quote, we've got people all around the world who want to invest in Joe Biden. Frank, Joe's other brother, called the Biden name a tremendous asset for business. Val says, quote, I had a better seat at the table because my brother is at the head of the table. Like, he is a penny ante racketeer, Joe Biden. For his family, he has always been this, ever since he was in Delaware, which again is a small business-run state. Meanwhile, we are learning now, thanks to an investigation by Luke Rosiak over at Daily Wire, that Hunter Biden's business partner used the federal position he was handed during the Obama administration to court an Eastern European company whose board Hunter was eager to join, according to a batch of emails obtained by the Daily Wire through a FOIA request. Eric Schwerin was appointed to the Commission for the Preservation of America's Heritage Abroad by Barack Obama in March 2015. That appointment gave Schwerin, who is managing director of Hunter's now-dissolved firm, the ability to present himself as a U.S. official, negotiate with Eastern European countries about the preservation of Holocaust-era cemeteries, and bring money to the table to fund those preservation projects raised from private businesses and individuals. And he attempted to get a Latvian bank acknowledged on a plaque on a commission project. During the same month, Hunter was seeking a board seat at that exact same company. Good stuff, as always, from the Joe Biden and Hunter Biden team-up. It's all going just amazing. Meanwhile, the economy continues to be down in the dumps. As I've said before, what goes up must come down. Things are coming down. Both Dick's Sporting Goods and Macy's are flashing warning signs on consumer spending. Basically, consumer spending is the only thing that's been holding up the American economy. A little bit later on in the show, we're going to talk with Mark Skuzin, who is an economist who is the creator of a metric known as gross output, which is a much better measure of the economy than gross domestic product. GDP is the thing we always use. GDP is basically just consumption economy. It's like what you buy at the store or what the government spends money on. But it doesn't include business-to-business transactions or business investment. Gross output measures those things. According to Skuzin's gross output stat, we've been in negative territory for the last 2 quarters straight. That stuff is starting to hit home right now. The business investors, they're not investing. They can see that the consumption-led economy is going to start to drop down. Both Dick's Sporting Goods and Macy's shares traded sharply lower on Tuesday after the retailers posted weaker quarterly earnings and provided tepid forecasts for the remainder of the year, signals that the recent strength in consumer spending has its limits. The sporting goods chain slashed its profit targets for the year after missing Wall Street forecasts for the second quarter. Macy's also reported declining sales in the June quarter as well. According to Macy's chief executive Jeff Gannett, we expect the pressures consumers are under continue through the balance of the year. Sales at Macy's were down 8% to $5 billion from 1 year earlier. Again, this is not a rarity. There are other chains that are experiencing significant difficulties. Walmart is still doing okay. Amazon is still doing okay, but Target is getting whomped. Home Depot is getting whomped. Again, a lot of these sort of retail places where you're not buying online, those places are getting hit hardest because people are spending less money. Meanwhile, they're also having to face down the fact that in major cities, they're getting routinely robbed. According to Axios, retailers are already grappling with an uncertain economy, a shift towards spending on services and rising labor costs. The last thing they need is another threat to the bottom line. 2 major chains reported on Tuesday their earnings are suffering from consumers not ponying up. Dick's Sporting Goods said that elevated inventory shrink, meaning theft, is an increasingly serious issue impacting many retailers. Also, Macy's says there are a giant number of delinquencies on their bills. A lot of retailers are now acknowledging that giant amounts of theft are impacting that bottom line. Joe Biden's economy going strong. It's all going great. It's all going great. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.